right, breaking news coming in from that BCCI selection meeting, and it's not good news for the champions of the 2011 edition, the likes of Virendra, Sehwag and Gautam Gambhir, Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh and also the injured Zaheer Khan. None of these seniors have found a place in the Indian team. In fact, the list of 30 probables that was to be announced today, we haven't yet received the entire list. That list is not out, but we can confirm now that there is no place for seniors in that 30 probables list for the World Cup. I have Nikhil Chopra with me. Nikhil, as we were speaking just before this information came out as well, no place for Virendra Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, Yuvraj Singh, the man on your screens, no place for Harbhajan Singh, who perhaps looked like having an outside chance together with Yuvraj Singh, and no place for Zaheer Khan. He's not really even fit as well as we speak. Not surprising at all. But the big question is, this is clearly the end of their careers, really.
Well, in terms of playing for the World Cup, yes. Yeah. But, you know, in terms of them probably making a comeback into the Indian team, I'd say an outside chance, maybe Yuvraj Singh, if he has a fantastic domestic season, come the one days or the T20 internationals, he still might go out there and don the India colours. But in terms of Gautam Gambhir, Virendra Sehwag, until unless somebody gets injured and these guys have a fantastic domestic season, you know, maybe in test match cricket they don the white India colours. Otherwise, it's very difficult for some of these seniors to make a comeback. It's unfortunate for Yuvraj Singh because of his injury, that he hasn't probably come back to his true potential in terms of form, and that's why he's been left out. Because we all know, Shivani, what a fantastic player that he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's categorized as a match winner, but the question always was that do you not give a position that he can take to someone else who's younger, fitter, more in form? I mean, a match winner is always a match winner, but in his case, it was a question about, you know, just how much matches can he win you anymore.
Well, that's true. And in terms of his injury, you know, in terms of his fielding abilities, you're absolutely right. When you talk about maybe a youngster who's come in will make all the difference, you know. And the way, to a certain extent, Ravindra Jadeja has been groomed. It just goes to show that, you know, they were looking to try and get that spot filled with somebody who could bat and somebody who can bowl.
And there's Stuart Binney in that role as well now.
And plus you're playing in Australia. So if Yuvraj Singh is not 100%, big shoes to fill, but I guess Mahendra Singh Dhoni will have to try and find somebody enables suitable replacement for Yuvraj Singh, because like you said, it's very hard to find match winners, you know, in that Indian team at this moment in time. Suresh Raina is one, Mahendra Singh Dhoni is two. The kind of form that Rohit Sharma, exactly. So, you know, maybe when you talk about a number 6 or a number 5 from somebody who can bat in the last 10 overs, the last 60 deliveries, the explosive power that you're looking for to finish off the innings, Yuvraj Singh had that. Until unless, of course, Suresh Raina is batting in that period in time, it's very hard to find somebody like a Yuvraj Singh who could have that explosive kind of power in the last 10 overs.
Let me go across to my colleague Rasesh Mandani, who is of course tracking developments outside the BCCI headquarters. Rasesh, first up, we've got confirmation on these 5 seniors who were perhaps hoping, keeping their fingers crossed about being at least in the 30 probables. That can be confirmed, but what news about the rest of the list?
Shani, we should mention here that you know, these big 5 who now been announced in the probable list technically can still make it. You know, the selectors can pick the team outside the probables if need be, but it's highly unlikely. If 2 months before the World Cup, if selectors have the opinion that do not need to look back, it's unlikely that may happen. Yet, you know, someone can always have the opportunity of performing well in the next month in a domestic season, and they might consider. But I think that was always going to be the big story of this probable announcement, wasn't it? Whether who would be missing out, because, you know, the makeup of the Indian teams changed so dramatically of the 2011 World Cup, and for each one of those players there are options available. I think that's the simple reason why some of these players are found missing. You know, for Gautam Gambhir and Virendra Sehwag, who opened the team opening the batting for 2011 World Cup, now there's the likes of Ajinkya Rahane, Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan. For Yuvraj Singh, someone like Suresh Raina has emerged who can do pretty much the same sort of thing. You know, fill in a few overs. You know, someone is a match winner lower down.
I'll just ask you to hold on. Saurav Ganguly, former India captain, is joining us. Saurav, a lot of these players that you've played with, you've groomed, Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh, Viru, Gauti, Zaheer, not part of the 30 probables for the World Cup.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, to be honest. And I didn't expect them to see them in the World Cup, because I think the message has gone out long before. And I said that, I think, if you remember, during the England series, when there was discussions going on about the 30 probables for the World Cup, obviously these names were not included because having been around for a long time and watching the way the selectors have gone about their job, it would have been very, very difficult for them to be in the probables, and I'm not surprised to see them.
Even somebody like Yuvraj Singh, Dada, a match winner, the 2011 man of the tournament. Do we have, as they say, a replacement as a match winner like him?
Yeah, I'm not surprised either. Because I think he's been pushed aside after that T20 final against Sri Lanka, and to be honest, his domestic performance hasn't been that good to get a place back in the side. But the point is, see, if you take people like Sehwag and Yuvraj and Harbhajan, you'll have to play them. You cannot just keep them in 30 and then not pick them.
Exactly.
And the point is, with the way the one-day team has played and the way the team has gone to Australia, there's not much time left before the World Cup. There's only one-day tournament before the World Cup. And the likes of Rohit Sharma, Ambati Rayudu, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, Ravindra Jadeja or MS Dhoni in the middle order. So there is no place for all these players. And then that's the reason they've not been picked. That's what happens when you're left out for a while.
Yeah.
And any player who's left out for a while, however great he is, will obviously find it to get a place.
Right. So sort of the other obvious question right now is it now the end of their careers really completely? The likes of Viru and Gautam, who actually opted out of the Deodhar Trophy as well, saying a youngster should get a spot instead of them. So indications have been there. Any hope at all, or is this? Do you expect maybe somebody like a Virendra Sehwag to announce his retirement soon?
Well, I'm not too sure about that because I've seen things happen in Indian cricket in the past. Maybe in one-day cricket, yes. I think it will be very difficult for them to make a comeback. But you never know in Indian cricket, and anything can happen. Let's wait and see with time. The next couple of months, next 2 or 3 months, things can change. So we will have to wait and see what happens. But obviously, it's going to be very, very tough.
And even the likes of Yuvraj, Harbhajan, who both have expressed their, their wish to still be part of the Indian team, still be part of the scene.
At this stage, will be very, very difficult. So, as I said, I never say never in Indian cricket, but very, very, very tough.
Absolutely. Saurav, I'll just take a final few comments from you. We're yet to get the list of the 30 probables, but the first piece of news that everybody was keeping an eye on is out, that these veterans, these proven performers, 5 of them part of the 2011 World Cup winning campaign, not part of the scene anymore. And as you said, Saurav, this was expected because ever since Sandeep Patil-led selection committee has come into force, they haven't really gone back. They've always, moved forward. They haven't gone back to a past player. And they've given a lot of the youngsters chances, and their vision is quite firmly set into the future.
It's not about youngsters and seniors. It's about performances. And then, to be honest, likes of Sehwag and Gautam Gambhir and Harbhajan Singh, especially Sehwag and Harbhajan Singh, hasn't got an opportunity for quite some time now. Last couple of years, they haven't been picked to be a part of the one-day side. So their omission has not been a surprise. Yes, Yuvraj Singh was there in the squad after the World Cup. He was recently in the T20 World Cup, and then he's not been picked after that. And it's the same thing with Zaheer Khan. He's not been picked for a while after the tour of England. So I'm not surprised with their omission in 30 probables.
But you feel this is the right direction for the Indian team, isn't it?
I'm not too sure whether it's right or wrong. Only time will say. Only time will say what happens when you go to Australia. It's not that they've been outstanding overseas. They've struggled with whatever side they've gone. They've struggled overseas, and in India, you see the win without even the captain MS Dhoni. They won 5-0 against Sri Lanka, and 5-0 meaning it was a domination over Sri Lanka. So I don't think India is a good yardstick to judge how good or bad the team is. It's about when they go out and they're on the tour to Australia, and we'll have to wait and see with the performance and then decide whether it's right or wrong.
We're going to slip into a break very quickly, Saurav. Stay with us. But before we do that, a quick comment about actually the World Cup probables list is out. Saurav, MS Dhoni, Shikhar Dhawan, Rohit Sharma, Rahane, Robin Uthappa, Virat Kohli, Suresh Raina, Rayudu. Not really a lot of surprises there. Kedar Jadhav finds a mention there. Manoj Tiwari, Manish Pandey, Riddhiman Saha, Sanju Samson, another wicketkeeper batsman. R. Ashwin, Parvez Rasool has found a place. Karan Sharma, who picked up 3 wickets in the practice match that India is playing currently, is also part of the team. Amit Mishra, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel are the other spinners. Ishant Sharma, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav, Varun Aaron form the pace battery. There's Dhaval Kulkarni as well. Mohit Sharma, Ashok Dinda finds a place. Kuldeep Yadav, Murli Vijay and Stuart Binney as well. Saurav, as I just read out the 30 probables list, your first comment.
I'm not surprised, to be honest. Most of them have picked themselves, and you can see that's the clear indication that we are going ahead with youth. We're going ahead with new players. And that's how they pick the team.
For the veterans who were part of the 2011 campaign. But first up, let's take a look at the 30 probables. Dhoni, Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan. No real surprises really emerging out of this list, which also includes Murli Vijay, Manish Pandey, Ajinkya Rahane, Robin Uthappa, Virat Kohli, Suresh Raina, Ambati Rayudu. There's also a spot for Parvez Rasool in the spot, maybe as an option for a backup for R. Ashwin, Kedar Jadhav, Manoj Tiwari, Riddhiman Saha, Sanju Samson, R. Ashwin, Karan Sharma, who picked up 3 wickets earlier today, all find a mention. Amit Mishra, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel form the other 3 spinners, while Ishant Sharma, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav, Varun Aaron, Dhaval Kulkarni, Mohit Sharma, Ashok Dinda, Kuldeep Yadav are all part as the pace battery. Stuart Binney, of course, finds a mention and a space as well, while there's space for Murli Vijay as well, as I mentioned. So, not any surprises really emerging out of this list. The pace battery was more or less confirmed. It was just a matter of speculation if Ashish Nehra at all, with his experience, will get a spot. But the big story emerging, no place for Yuvraj Singh, the man of the tournament in 2011. No place for Virendra Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, Zaheer Khan and even Harbhajan Singh. Nikhil Chopra is with me in the studio. Nikhil, this has to be the end of their careers, really. I mean, we heard from all 5 of them speaking before this list came out and, mentioning how they wish to be part of the Indian setup. Any cricketer would be. But after this snub, is there any way they can ever come back to the team?
Well, I guess for some of the guys it might be very difficult to don the India jersey, but I still feel outside chance. Yuvraj Singh, has a fantastic domestic circuit. He can probably still come back and play for India T20 or even the one-day format. But some of the other guys, maybe Gautam Gambhir, outside chance, looking to play for India in the test matches, because that's one area in test matches where they still haven't been able to find a very comfortable solution. Who's going to open the test side? So I won't say end of the road in terms of their career. Yes, playing for India, Shivani, will be very, very difficult, but you never know, you remember the classic case of VVS Lakshman, when he was dropped from the Indian side, he went back to the domestic circuit, he was only getting 200 runs, 200, 250, 275, that's how you make a comeback. So it's not out of their box, because these guys have, proven their mettle in international cricket. So I have a feeling that it's not end of the road in terms of playing for India. Yes, playing the World Cup, most certainly. Because these guys really haven't been able to go out there and satellite the domestic circuit.
They haven't really been able to make their case as far as this 30 probables is concerned. First piece of bad news really for them, and one wonders just how long they'll carry on. Speculations about Virendra Sehwag's impending retirement were already doing the round when he and Gautam Gambhir pulled out of the Deodhar Trophy as well. One tournament where they could have made their case. Our consulting editor Boria Majumdar joins us over the phone line. Boria, no real surprises as far as that list of 30 probables is concerned. Most of them are faces which are already playing for India, and a lot of youngsters have been given a chance, at least in this 30 list.
The good part about this 30 is that they have actually rewarded domestic performance. If you see the recent performances by people like Manoj Tiwari, Ashok Dinda, Kedar Jadhav, and you will see they have all been rewarded. I mean, they have not gone with reputation, they have not gone with names, they have not gone with proven performance, but they have actually gone with people who are in form, people who are sort of currently doing very well in the domestic circuit have been rewarded. I was listening to what Nikhil was saying. Yes, theoretically these people still have a chance of making a comeback. I mean, Harbhajan Singh still has cricket left in it. So don't put it past Harbhajan, for example, to make a comeback into the Indian team, or even Yuvraj. But, for some of the others, it does seem to be the end of the road. I mean, for one-day cricket and T20 cricket for sure. I mean, I don't see Zaheer Khan or Virendra Sehwag coming back to the Indian side for one-day cricket or T20 cricket. I mean, I do think this is the end of the road for some of them. They've had sterling careers. I mean, they'll always remain legends, but things come to an end. I mean, I don't think this 30 probables list is bad. I think it's good because the selectors have kept faith on the youngsters and people who are performing currently. That's how it should be.
It's almost at the end of an era, isn't it, Bora, if we can term it that? The likes of Virendra Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, Yuvraj, Harbhajan, Zaheer, who were, you know, till a few years ago regulars, and, you know, we've grown up watching them, and it's the end of an era, started almost a decade back.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And that's why I'm saying, I mean, these are all legends. When we are talking about Yuvraj Singh, who's man of the tournament in 2007 and 11. We're talking about Zaheer, who was India's premier bowler in 2011. We're talking about Virendra Sehwag, who's a legend in his own right, perhaps the best batsman, you know, opening batsman after Sunil Gavaskar India has ever seen. We're talking about Gautam Gambhir, who scored a match-winning 90 odd in the World Cup 2011 final, and Harbhajan Singh, who won the 2007 and 2011. And these are all real legends of the game. So it is definitely the end of the era, Shivani. While you say never, but at the same time, every good thing comes to an end. So, yes, their India careers perhaps seem on the line, but they've contributed immensely to the game and to Indian cricket to be always revered in the echelon and in the pantheon of the game in India.
Let me go across to my colleague Rasesh Mandani outside the BCCI headquarters as well. Rasesh, no real surprises as we are talking in this list of 30 probables. Current performances, really the main criteria emerging, current form. And performances in recent times, the main criteria for the selectors, it seems.
Yes, Shivani, I think it's more of a continuation of the sort of selection of the teams that we've seen through the past few series. Gradually, slowly but surely, the selectors have sort of looked to blood in more youngsters, given messages to the senior players that they'll need to come up with some quality performances in the domestic cricket to find their way back. And I think 2 months before the World Cup, it seems the selectors are sending a message that now it's too late to go back to that policy, to those tried and tested players, and it's a continuation of that. And I think a lot of these replacements have performed. The likes of Rahane, Rohit Sharma have sort of stabilized themselves in the opening of the order. And I think it's not just the 30. The selectors, I think, would have pretty much 12 or 13 players picked as far as the final 15 is concerned, with the decision that they'll have to make in the month's time. It would be probably amongst the likes of Raidu, Manoj Tiwari, Manish Pandey, whether one or two of these three should be picked. And that spinning option, I think that the selectors will have to mull over whether to pick Akshar Patel or Ravindra Jadeja, but that is for another day. As far as today is concerned, the big takeaway from this whole 30 probables list is that those big 5 players which have served Indian team for all these while would now not be in all probability playing in that 2015 World Cup, and that in many ways is perhaps a transfer of baton. It's for the younger team. India would go into that 2015 World Cup as defending champions, but it will be a very different Indian team than the one that we saw in Mumbai on that final in 2011.
Absolutely, as you were saying, these 5 seniors, part of that World Cup winning campaign in 2011, there you can see it's almost the end of an era, really, and not a real surprise that the selectors have continued in the same theme, Nikhil, that they have maintained over the last couple of years, especially since Sandeep Patil came as the head of selectors committee. We've only seen them going forward. We haven't seen them going back, and we've always seen them, introducing more young blood and rewarding performances in the domestic circuit.
I think it sends a good signal, Shivani. You can't bank on reputations for a long period of time, because at the end of the day, when you're playing international cricket, competitive cricket, at the end of the day, you're as good as your last performance. You need to do the hard work, you need to put in the performances. And just a while ago, you said in a very appropriate thing that none of the senior guys actually put up a case or put up a fight, because the domestic season has not been one of the best. By that, the selectors would be forced to go back to them and saying, well, these guys are amongst runs with the experience, let's have a look in. But unfortunately for them, they haven't been able to put up a case. But the other thing has been that the youngsters, given the opportunity, have been able to grab that opportunity with both hands. You look at how Ajinkya Rahane has fought for his space. Rohit Sharma, after his injury, he's come back. He got that fantastic 250 runs on board. Ambati Raidu, given the opportunity, he's been getting half centuries in that middle order as well in international cricket. And some of the other guys have been able to go out there and, take the world by storm in domestic cricket. You look at Rahul, the opening batsman, Dilip Trophy final, he's got 100 in both the innings. So I guess the selectors have done a fantastic job, and especially when you're looking to pick a squad or a probable list for 30, you've got to give weightage to performances. You know, it's fair enough, potential, but this is the World Cup you're talking about.
The question would also be, is this a very, very young side? Boria, what's your take on that? Does this side have enough balance of experience and youth?
You know, Shivani, I don't think it's a young side. I mean, I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Suresh Raina, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, all of these people, Robin Uthappa, or any of these people, and if you go down the bowling list as well, Ravi, Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja, each of them have played 100 plus one day, some of them 200 plus one day. So what do we mean by young? I mean, some of them may be young by age, 25, 26, 27, but they're not young by in terms of experience. I mean, they've all played 100 plus, 100.
No, what I mean is, Boria, that only 4 players who played in the 2011 campaign are actually part of this 30 list. So the other 7 are going to be fairly new.
Shivani, 2011 is 4 years back. This is international sport which is dynamic and has moved on. 2011 to 2015, India has played some, 300 plus one-day international, close to 300 plus one-day international. And if people have played 150 of those, I mean, for example, you know, Ravi Ashwin was part of the 2011 campaign, played 1 game, but he's your premier spinner at this point in time. Rohit Sharma has been around from 2008, was not part of the 2011 campaign. So how do you describe Rohit Sharma? Rohit Sharma was left out despite playing in South Africa in 2010 and played a key role in the Commonwealth Bank Series in 2008. So he's been around for close to a decade. So how do we call these people inexperienced and young? I think it's the perfect time. I think they've picked these people on form. I think they've done well in domestic cricket. I think this is India's best chance to put their best foot forward and create an impression, because in Australia there'll be bigger ground. So you need fielders who are good. You don't need people who are not good enough in terms of, you know, on the field. Say someone like Rahim Khan who's not agile enough. I think the selectors have done a good job, and now it is upon these players to go out there and perform.
Right, as we said, not much surprises there in the 30 probables list. Boria, thanks a lot for joining us. Let me go across back to Rasesh Mandani. Rasesh, we were talking about the pace battery, which is of course going to be extremely important in Australia. And if we go through the names, the name of Ashok Dinda maybe hits you a little bit, but he's a current performer. He's performed really well in the Deodhar Trophy, and that has got him a mention in the 30 probables list.
Yes, so, you know, Dinda is someone who, you know, his performance the other night in the Deodhar Trophy finals where he picked up 4 wickets may have counted. You know, that's a perfect example of timely performances before a selection committee meet. But we'll have to understand that this is a list of 30, and you know, Dinda will have to he'll be lucky to make it to the final 15 because, you know, there's a very strong team of pace battery that has gone to Australia right now, and unless one of them comes out injured or doesn't perform in the test matches, you know, it would be difficult to see beyond them. The likes of Varun Aaron, Umesh Yadav performing the option of bowling with the new ball, also bowling towards the death as well. Then of course there's Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Shami, who've done consistently well in the past year and a half, and Ishan Sharma is the other option who's always done well in Australia. So I think these are the 5 pace bowlers that the selectors would be looking at. Their performances in Australia would be monitored in the test matches, and then of course the other players, the likes of Dinda, Mohit Sharma, Ishwar Pandya, just provide the additional options to the selectors when they sit down to cut the team to 15. But you know, you're right, this pace battery is going to be crucial, like we always mention, in Australian conditions, in New Zealand conditions, you know, where it bounces a bit, New Zealand it can seam a bit, you know, the pace battery will have to make the difference.
Absolutely. Nikhil, let's talk about those 15 then that we see perhaps, you know, making the cut for the final squad. A lot of them select themselves, and unless something major changes, you know, there are injuries or somebody, you know, completely falls out of runs or out of wickets, we know the 15 that we're looking at, isn't it? Any surprises first up for you in this 30 probables list?
To be very honest, no, none whatsoever, because
not even Parvez Rasool or Kedar Jadhav?
No, because if you look at in terms of from the selector's point of view, you know, you've got R. Ashwin as an off-spinner, and who's the other best off-spinner in the country at this moment in time in terms of performance, who's been able to go out there and get wickets? Parvez Rasool, because he's been part of the India A squad travelling around, which has been a good thing. So, you know, you got a backup for a backup man as well amongst the guys who've been doing well. So, for me, no real surprises in the 30. But the million-dollar question, who makes it to the 15? You're absolutely right. Most of these guys go out there and pick themselves until unless the captain feels that he needs a batting all-rounder or a bowling all-rounder. You know, we've been trying to find one over a long period of time, but Stuart Binney, you know, like explosive power that I'm talking about in the, from say the 40th to the 50th over. Stuart Binney is one person who can go out there and probably change the course of a game.
You know, you talked about that last few overs. Manoj Tiwari finds a spot in the team as well, and he could perform that role of just accelerating the run rate towards the end of the innings.
Possible, but because you're playing in Australia, I'm looking at a batsman, you know, who can probably bat at number 6 and give me a bowling option as well at number 6, number 7, because in terms of explosive power and just pure batting, I have enough firepower in my batting order. But because sometimes if I don't want to play the second spinner, I just go in with the lone spinner. I need another medium pacer who can just come and roll his arm over.
And that's where Stuart Binney fits more perfectly. All right, only 4 members of the 2011 World Cup winning campaign have been retained or are part of the 30 probables that will now be in contention for the squad for the World Cup in 2015. The big news story emerging, of course, that there is really no rolling back of the years for the seniors like Virendra, Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh and also Zaheer Khan. None of these 5 who were part of the World Cup winning campaign have found a spot even in the 30 probables for the 2015 World Cup, and it doesn't really come as a surprise for many because they haven't really been in form, they haven't been in and out of the team even, you know, the selectors have moved forward ever since they decided to drop them. And while Gauti played, of course, in that Test series in England recently, it wasn't really a performance of note. But let's take a look at the 30 that have made it, and again, very little surprises for anyone who's been watching Indian cricket over the past couple of years. These are faces we expected to see. Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, of course, at the top of the order, which they're going to be joined by the likes of Ajinkya Rahane or Robin Uthappa as well, Murli Vijay as well at the top of the order. Manish Pandey finds a spot. Of course, in the middle order, Rahane could play in the middle order. Virat Kohli, Suresh Raina. There's Kedar Jadhav, Manoj Tiwari, Riddhiman Saha and Sanju Samson, who are backup openers, backup wicket keepers for Mahendra Singh Dhoni. R. Ashwin, Parvez Rasool, Karan Sharma start forming the spinners department together with Amit Mishra, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel. Then we come to the all-important pace battery, and now of course the pacers are going to be extremely crucial when it comes to the wicket-taking abilities in Australia and New Zealand. They're led by Ishan Sharma, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav, Varun Aaron. Dhaval Kulkarni finds a spot. Mohit Sharma, Ashok Dinda, who took 4 wickets in the recently concluded Deodar Trophy final. There's Kuldeep Yadav as well. And of course, Stuart Binney as one of the all-rounder options together with the Ravindra Jadeja find a mention in this 30 probables list. I have Nikhil Chopra, former India cricketer, joining me in the studio. Nikhil, let's talk about the pace battery now. More or less what we had expected the team to be. But there are, they're actually still giving hope to a lot of youngsters as well. The likes of Dhaval Kulkarni, Kuldeep Yadav, you know, who would be very, very excited to see themselves in the 30 probables list, even if they're not part of the 15, as we were speaking just a short while ago. Focus is firmly on youth and on current form.
Well, absolutely. You know, that's the way forward. You're looking to pick a squad for the World Cup. You know, you got to keep a lot of weightage in terms of how these guys have performed in domestic cricket. You speak about Dhaval Kulkarni. He's done extremely well. You know, Kuldeep Yadav is somebody who's done well. Mohit Sharma is somebody who's done well. Umesh Yadav hasn't played too many one-day games, you know, for some reason. And he's always been preferred in terms of the longer format, but he's been given an opportunity here.
They're going to need Umesh Yadav in Australia, isn't it? It's horses for courses.
Exactly. And, you know, just to get a little bit of that zeal, that zest, raw pace, I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead with Varun Aaron as well. Because, you know, sometimes when you got the opposition on the mat, you need that express pace to go out there and just clean up the tail sometimes, and that could trouble. And Team India is, you know, pretty notorious for that, allowing the tail to wag and then all of a sudden chasing the goal.
One of the questions that were being asked is, why is there no Umesh Yadav in the tour to England, isn't it? Even though he was fit, he had come back after his injury. But clearly now they are wanting to give him a chance in the one-day squad, and he will be required as far as the pitches, the bouncy, pacey pitches in Australia are concerned. But Rasesh, joining us from outside the BCCI headquarters. First up, any reaction at all from BCCI top officials. Sandeep Patil was there in the meeting, I believe, and clearly a big churn as far as generational shift is concerned when we look at this World Cup squad.
Yeah, Shivani, we're still awaiting the BCCI to come out and elaborate on the team. As we know, the selectors are not allowed to speak. So, we'll have to be content with what the secretary says and if he can communicate the right message that the selectors thought. But what one can understand from the 30 that has come out is the selectors are clearly not wanting to go back to some of the tried and tested players. The big five that we've been discussing who were there in the 2011 World Cup, they've been big names, played more than a decade for India, haven't been in the mix for the past year or so. And the selectors haven't felt the need to go back to them, even if it's a big tournament like World Cup. Perhaps I think there would be some who would say there could have been a case of keeping someone like a Yuvraj Singh in. He's still young enough and a match winner, as we know, and keeping in the 30 and see if in the next month or so he can perform in domestic cricket and provide the selectors another option. But the selectors, it seems, do not want to look back. The question that the selectors would have wanted to ask is, do they think the likes of, say, a Manoj Tiwari, say, a Manish Pandey or a Ambati Raidu, some of these who could also, make it into the final 15 better than a non-performing Yuvraj Singh? Yeah. Perhaps the answer to them was yes, and hence they've gone ahead and picked up this team, which is, as we've been saying, very different from the team that saw representing India the last time in the World Cup.
That is indeed the big question. Nikhil, who are the match winners for you, apart from the usual names? If we were to say that 10 automatically select themselves in the final 15 or 12 automatically select, who are the other 3 floaters, probables, that you think have a chance to prove themselves and, maybe go there with the next factor in Australia and New Zealand?
Well, again, the usual guys who've been doing well for Team India. I personally feel, we keep talking about the fact that this is Australia, pace and bounce, but, history probably repeating itself with ICC controlling everything, like the 2007 World Cup in South Africa. The wickets were flat, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see similar sort of tracks being prepared in Australia as well. So in that regard,
wickets in Australia already have become less pacier, less bouncier.
So he'll have an important role for maybe Ashwin as well as Jadeja to be playing. And
Karan Sharma seems like someone who could easily find a spot in the 15.
That's the X factor I was coming to about. One wrist spinner can change the course of the game. We had Piyush in 2011. We didn't use too much of him in fact, just that practice game against England. But Karan Sharma, to me, won't be a bad choice in those sort of conditions, who can, turn things around by his own ability. And you need somebody like that, a surprise factor, because now with technology, Shivani, most teams are following each and every single individual's performances. What is their strengths and weaknesses? Karan Sharma, the world doesn't know too much about.
Well, he plays in the IPL.
He does.
Most of the other players have played against him.
But this is a different track, but he obviously has the ability, the potential. That's why he's in that list.
Do you think he will perhaps pip Amit Sharma to the top 15?
I would personally. No disrespect to Amit Sharma at this moment in time, but you talk about youth, you talk about fielding ability, somebody could go out there and tonk the ball as well. So to me, if I had to pick between the two, keeping the World Cup in mind for my team, I'd go with Karan Sharma.
Remember, there's also Ashok Dinda, who's obviously been rewarded for his performance in the Deodhar Trophy. One will have to wait and see if a few of these fringe players, a few of these floaters can actually sustain those performances and make it to the final 15 before the World Cup as well. Rasesh Mandani, Nikhil Chopra, thanks a lot for joining us. But keep watching Headlines today. We'll keep getting you more analysis on the 30 probables to the World Cup. Big story, no place for the seniors of 2011 World Cup winning campaign.